When is the last time that you truly surrendered to an outcome in your life or your business for that matter? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today on Wisdom Wednesday, where timeless spiritual principles meet modern day success. I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of Align to Shine Academy, where we empower women over 50 to embrace their divine purpose and shed limiting beliefs, creating lives filled with self-love and meaningful connections. And I know that letting go of expectations and trusting that all is going to turn out well maybe sounds simple, or maybe it doesn't sound simple. Well, it's definitely not always easy to do. I have firsthand experience with that, I will tell you. And it's really about letting go and letting God and or the universe or source or whatever, however you refer to that higher spirit, something that's greater than ourselves. It's uh, it's so important to be able to do that, and it's part of today's daily word from Unity, which I love. That is their they normally have a word, but occasionally they'll have a phrase. And today's phrase was "let go and let God," which also happens to be something very dear to me, which I'll explain in a little bit as well. So I'm going to share their message today from Unity, and I will mention God in this message. Yes, I'm going to. Yeah, I was thinking, did I say something weird there? But whatever. Anyway, so if you don't resonate with the term God, then replace it with source, universe, higher self, whatever is more in alignment with you, because that's what we have to do. We've got to be able to align with ourselves. So all right, enough of that. Let me just get to it. All right, here's the message. It says, if I feel anxious or fearful about life's uncertainties, I end up worrying about a future that may not even happen. I will likely be haunted by thoughts of not enough or can't. Wanting to reclaim my spiritual center, I bring my awareness back to God. As I exhale, I let go of any tension I may be holding in my mind and body. I release human willfulness and turn my attention to my divine nature, the part of me that knows only God. How wonderful it feels to let go and let God. I feel fear and apprehension fade. In their place, I feel courage building within me. The uncertainties of the world are no match for the certainty I feel when I trust God, the one presence and power in the universe. So I love that. And as I mentioned, I love the whole concept of let go and let God. And the reason is because when I came up with, I didn't come up with, when my higher self said that I needed to write a book about love, and love was an acronym, the L in love stands for let go and let God. So that's why this topic resonates with me 100%, because I've totally unpacked this a lot over the last few years. Originally starting with writing the book, and it is, part of it is this letting go of expectations, letting go of our attachment to the outcome, because there are only so many things that we can control in our lives or in our business, and we can't control other people's reactions. We can't control sometimes when things are going to happen. We can't control the weather, we can't control anything else that's going on in the world. We only have a certain amount of control over things in our life. And even those things, sometimes we can make plans and we can set goals, and then sometimes the universe or what have you says, nah, this isn't going to happen like this. It's not going to be how you planned, and you're going to have to come up with a new plan. And that's when you really do have to practice letting go of the stress and the tension and the, doggone it, I wanted it to be this way. Why? Why, God? We've all done this. Come on, let's get real. Of course we have. But being able to surrender, like trust and surrender, frankly, were like the two words that kept coming up for me in the last year when I was journaling and meditating, and was like, this is this message. And I know it's because it's still something that I have to consciously practice. And that's my advice for you too, is to realize that this is not necessarily something that you're going to master. In fact, I was having a lovely, online conversation, I guess, commenting conversation on LinkedIn this morning after I had posted that I was going to be, doing this Wisdom Wednesday with a lovely, an amazing woman and speaker. I've actually heard her talk years ago. She may not remember this, but her name is Dr. Carrie Rose, and she was, she's an intelligent woman. She has I think a master's degree or a doctorate or something, and yet she's still also. Hopefully I'm not telling tales on her. Go to LinkedIn, you read the comments. But anyway, we had a conversation about this as well, that it's, that it's not always easy. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. That it's not always easy to let go. We want to be able to be in control. And part of that is our human side of our mind, as opposed to it's the little self. You can call it the ego. But it's that small self, the controlling brain, mind, as opposed to our higher, more spiritual self. That's the part that really wants to control stuff because it wants to keep us safe. And it's a wonderful tool. However, we're not living in prehistoric times where it needed to really work, all the time to keep us safe from saber-toothed tigers and falling off a cliff and whatever. In our modern age, the dangers aren't quite so severe that we have to be on the lookout for. And we can much more take the time to rely on God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, and our higher self, and trust that we have the wisdom within, and we have the knowledge within, and we just have to tap into that, and we just have to surrender and set intentions. You can definitely, like I said, setting goals, absolutely, still a great thing to do in your life, in your business. You want to be able to do that. I've got a whole planner, and I've got quarterly goals that I'm working on right now, and even the day-to-day stuff. Things are going to come up, and just as an example. This is a long time ago, but I was planning a workshop, and, I'm in-person workshop. So I had a hotel lined up, put down my deposit, all that good stuff that you got to do when you're going to run a workshop. And unfortunately, about a few days before we were supposed to have it, a hurricane threatened, and the hotel was going to be was in the evacuation zone, and because it was on the beach. And so they were going to have to, cancel everything. And so I had to reschedule that retreat for another date. And so I was disappointed, of course. Of course, people understood, the attendees understood, but, that's why I say you have to learn to roll with the punches sometimes, and just know that sometimes things are meant to be. And here's the other point, is also when you can really truly surrender to the outcome and trust that everything is going to turn out all right. Sometimes, even though it didn't seem like it was going to be great the way it was, or, you thought everything, you had it a certain way, it was going to be good. And now, best laid plans of mice and men doesn't work. But by letting go of that expectation, letting go of, the need to control, and just being able to say, okay, I'm going to put this, I'm trusting that everything is going to turn out. Oftentimes, it turns out better. It does. It turns out even better than you had expected. So keep that in mind today. If you're going to, whatever you've got planned, just know that it's okay that you make the plan and then just say, okay, I did the best I could, and now I'm going to leave it in divine guidance, divine wisdom, that everything is going to turn out, and then watch what happens and see. And maybe journal about it. I love journaling. I think it's a wonderful practice to help you. I love any type of inner work that you can do on yourself, meditation. It's great stuff. So I encourage you to do that. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. So I appreciate you watching and listening. And we'll be back again next Wednesday at noon with some more practical advice from a spiritual perspective, I'd like to say. So until then, have a fabulous, wonderful Wednesday.